The constant wars in the Middle East, are they more spiritual than they are physical over resources and everything else? And do they have anything to do with the lineage of Abraham? Do they have anything to do with Isaac as well as Ishmael? Does that have anything to do with this? This preacher is about to explain to us exactly how the war in the Middle East is concerned with Ishmael and Isaac, mainly the seeds of Abraham. Without further ado, how are you guys doing today? I hope you guys are doing great, and I hope you guys are doing well. Before we get started with today's video, you know the drill on the channel. Please help us out by dropping a like down below on the video and also leaving a comment telling us exactly how you feel about what this preacher is about to say. I'll also give my 2 cents at the end of this video that I found on TikTok, and we will engage as far as the lineage of Abraham is concerned and the constant wars that we get in the Middle East. Without further ado, let's go and let's get it.
You ever notice we always refer in the Old and New Testament to the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Abraham, Isaac. Not Abraham, Isaac, Ishmael, and Jacob. So that's where the war began, because there was the war between Isaac and Ishmael. That war in the Middle East is more spiritual than anything. It's not over territory, in as much in the physical it is, over resources and land in the physical it is, but it's much more spiritual than it is physical. So it dates back from there. But when you look at the scripture, Ishmael did receive an inheritance. Nonetheless, that's why the Muslim people is still a strong people, because they did receive an inheritance. And one of the promises connected to Ishmael is that they were going to be a strong people. This is why the dominating religions in the world are the 3 Abrahamic religions: the Jewish people, the Muslim people, and Christian. Those are 3 Abrahamic religions, because the Christian faith, the Muslim faith, the Jewish faith all stem from Abraham. That's why they're the most dominant out of any religious groups in the entire world, because of Abraham, because of the promise over his life was that his descendants were going to be like the sand in the sea and the stars in the sky.
Okay, before I weigh in on this beautiful topic, right, it's very key to note that generational wars really do happen, and they've been dating back throughout time. Because if you check even in the Holy Scriptures, this war between the seeds of Abraham, Ishmael as well as Jacob, it didn't end with them. It continued also even to the seed of Isaac. And I would love to say that maybe this came from the fact that the lineage of Abraham was supposed to be based on the lineage of the first seed, which was Ishmael. But we saw many of the greater blessings or many of the greater recognitions being given to Isaac. And that also caused the problem, because even his seed started to rebel against each other. All right? Even before they came, from the first seeds, Cain and Abel, these things are generational. I don't want to call them curses, but they became generational in the sense that happening, that war, that event continued to take place even to the seeds that were before Abraham himself. So it's very powerful to note that the wars between people have always been there, particularly the wars between the people of God. They have always been there. Now let's go into the main topic that we want to talk about: Ishmael as well as Isaac, right? You must remember, Ishmael is by birthright, as the firstborn son. Although we might say he was illegitimate in a way, because he was born out of Sarah not being able to bear children, and therefore Sarah gave the authority. The authority came from Sarah, and God agreed with it. God agreed with the opinion of the woman Sarah that Abraham should go into that woman who was actually a servant to the house of Abraham, in order for him to have seed, in order for him to have offspring. So there we had the lad, which was Ishmael. And it's very much great to also understand that for Ishmael and his mother to be cast out, it is because the mother had a problem with the lad. The mother, Sarah, had a problem with Ishmael. She found that Ishmael's existence rather was very mockery towards her. That's why she said that they must cast her and the lad Ishmael outside, right? That's where it stems from. But I want to show you something very, very powerful in the Holy Scriptures. If we were to read the book of Genesis, Genesis 21, I'm going to read it from verse 12, right? And God said unto Abraham, let it not be grievous in thy sight because of thy lad, because Abraham loved his firstborn son, which was Ishmael. He really, really loved him. But God says to him, in all that Sarah has said unto thee, hearken unto her voice, for Isaac shall thy seed be called. So Isaac was born already, but God is now agreeing with Sarah to say that you can cast Ishmael out. Nothing will happen. You won't fail the promise that I gave you, that you will have many nations and many nations will come from you. Ishmael, even if he goes, I will ensure that Isaac bears the nations that I promised you. Right? This is God talking to Abraham. And now after Abraham cast out Hagar and Ishmael, there's something very powerful that I want you to see. And this also comes to the point that he said that this is why the Muslim nation is still a strong people. I'm going to show you why they're still a strong people. This is because God actually responds to the Muslims so much powerfully so as he responds to the Christians. I want to show you exactly why I'm saying this, right? You know, when they got to the desert, there was a time whereby water ran out, food ran out, they were thirsty, and the mother of Ishmael actually said that she doesn't want to see her son die. So she went away and tried not to see her son die. But I want you to see exactly what God does here, right? Verse 17 says, and God heard the voice of the lad, and the angel of God called unto Hagar out of the heavens, and said unto her, what aileth thee, Hagar? Fear not, for God hath heard the voice of the lad where he is. This is something very powerful. Hagar was also crying for the lad, which is Ishmael. But God didn't hear the tears or see the tears of Hagar, the mother, right? God only heard the voice of Ishmael, and God responded merely because of Ishmael. He responded and saved Ishmael and his mother merely because of Ishmael. This shows you exactly that God is a promise keeper in himself. He told Abraham not to worry, he will be the father of nations. Therefore, he could not let Ishmael die, nor the lineage that will come from Ishmael. Remember also, Ishmael also received blessings from Abraham and blessings from God. The only problem that we have right now is that these two religious books that we have, one glorifies more one son of Abraham and puts down the other son of Abraham, which it shouldn't, but that's what it does. While the other also shows a side of Ishmael and the blessing that comes from him, the lineage that comes from him, right? That comes also to be the most powerful nation in the world. So the war in the Middle East, I can agree, it's more spiritual than it is physical, because this has always been how the religious spectrum works. This is how religion has been founded from the beginning of time. There has to be two opposing seeds, two opposing, I don't want to say nations because we are one nation practically, but two opposing tribes, if I can say tribes. There has to be two of them. There has to be two people who are constantly at war, but they are born of the same person. That is why we can argue in terms of religions, but we are born of the same God. You understand? That is why you have the nation of Cain, the nation of Abel. You have the nation of Ham, the nation of Japheth. You have the nation of Jacob, the nation of Esau, the nation of Isaac, the nation of Ishmael, right? I can go on and on. The nation of Joseph, the brothers of Joseph. It's just a religious thing that has always been there. There has to be two opposing sides, but that are actually born of the same power and of the same spirit. right? So the war in the Middle East definitely is more spiritual than it is physical. I don't know what's your take on this. Will the war ever end? I don't think it will anytime soon. I think wars will continue to be there because this thing is generational and it's more spiritual than it is physical. We can talk about resources, but it's definitely not about resources. So drop a comment in the comment section telling us exactly how you feel about what this guy spoke about, and also leave a like on the video if you've not yet done so. Much love. Peace.